I beg to move that the committee considers the Draft Medical Devices Post-Market Surveillance Requirements Amendment Great Britain Regulations 2024. And it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr Efford. I'll begin by setting out the policy context for the regulations. The 2020 Independent Medicines and Medical Devices Safety Review, led by Baroness Cumberledge, highlighted the consequences of inadequate post-market regulations for patients, especially women who receive pelvic mesh implants. The review found that the system often failed to listen to patients' concerns and acted too slowly when issues were identified. These women have suffered horrendously as a result. The review called for substantial changes to the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the MHRA, to ensure patient safety, including improved regulation of medical devices to enhance the collection of adverse incident data to reduce patient safety risks and prevent a recurrence of harm. This statutory instrument will deliver improved safety for patients. It will introduce clearer and more robust requirements on medical device post-market surveillance, or PMS, so that manufacturers are required to collect and evaluate the safety and performance of medical devices in a thorough and consistent manner once they are in real-world use. So what will this mean for patients in the UK? Well, this instrument, Mr Efford, represents the first step in a series of amendments to reform the Medical Devices Regulations 2002. These changes are designed to enhance the safety of medical devices, to ensure availability and to support innovation. This instrument will create a strong foundation for this medtech regulatory reform, and it will deliver patient benefits in three key areas. Firstly, by improving patient safety. This instrument will not only enable MHRA, but also the whole health system to better protect patients by more closely monitoring the safety and the performance of medical devices. This includes medical devices within the NHS and in our local communities, thereby supporting the government's mission to shift focus from hospital to community. This will result in more rapid identification, investigation and resolution of safety issues, allowing the NHS to focus its resources more effectively. And while doing so, these regulations will also strengthen the patient voice by requiring manufacturers to undertake patient and public engagement where appropriate during their post-market surveillance. Secondly, this statutory instrument will provide stronger assurance that devices supplied to the market are safe and are effective, supporting both the continuation of supply and improved access for the NHS and patients to potentially transformative technologies. With stronger assurance of safety and efficacy, we are able to implement new routes to market. For example, this instrument will help support the introduction of an international reliance framework, taking into account, where it's safe to do so, decisions made by comparable regulators. We intend to lay this draft legislation, Mr Efford, in 2025 as part of future medical devices regulatory reform. Finally, this instrument will support innovation and economic growth by providing regulatory certainty for manufacturers considering placing their medical devices on our market. The collection of real-world data can result in more user-friendly and more effective innovations by highlighting opportunities for improvement and ultimately achieving better outcomes for patients. I'll now take a moment with the committee's permission to summarise the key provisions of this particular instrument. Once in force, this statutory instrument will ensure that any medical device placed on the Great Britain market is subject to rigorous post-market scrutiny. This will enhance patient safety across the board, thereby promoting a consistent approach to PMS across the whole of the United Kingdom, where of course Northern Ireland have their own arrangements. This statutory instrument will set out in greater detail what must be included as part of a PMS system and a PMS plan. Manufacturers will need to ensure their PMS system includes analysis of relevant data throughout the medical device's lifetime. This comprehensive approach allows for a more accurate assessment of device performance, ultimately leading to faster identification and resolution of safety issues. This statutory instrument will provide greater detail on when and how to report serious incidents. The timelines for notifying the MHRA will be standardised throughout the United Kingdom, benefiting manufacturers that supply medical devices to both Northern Ireland and to Great Britain, and ensuring safety issues are identified and investigated promptly. The introduction of new requirements to share summary reports at regular intervals means that medical devices will be continually monitored to ensure their performance with higher risk devices facing even more scrutiny. These measures encourage manufacturers to monitor both serious and non-serious incidents over time, which will aid the recognition of adverse safety trends and signals, supporting the containment of potential safety issues before they escalate. And I commend these measures to the House. Thank you very much, Mr Efford, and I want to thank the Honourable Lady for her valuable contribution today. Let me be clear to the House. These regulations introduce clearer and more robust requirements for post-market surveillance of medical devices to improve patient safety and to signal a crucial shift in the way we manage medical devices in Great Britain. Some important points have been made by the Honourable Lady. Firstly, on the MHRA and whether or not it's appropriately resourced to cope with the likely increase in incident reporting that will occur as a result of this regulatory change. Now, let me try and reassure her that the measures introduced in this instrument shouldn't have a significant impact on MHRA capacity. Their systems and processes are already in place to provide regulatory oversight for vigilance reporting. The measures within this statutory instrument are expected to increase the volume of safety data reported to MHRA. However, the accompanying improvements to data quality will support automation and it will reduce burdens associated with data analysis. So to ensure that MHRA systems for vigilance reporting are fully equipped to handle the new reporting requirements for manufacturers, we will verify system readiness through comprehensive testing and validation ahead of the date of application of these regulations. As the regulator for the whole of the United Kingdom, the MHRA is committed to protecting patient safety while enabling a regulatory environment in which the life sciences sector is able to innovate and to launch new medical products in the interest of public health across the UK. And quite the contrary to her assertion that the regulatory burden will be increased and therefore will squash the innovation. Actually, the opposite is the intention of this government. It is to ensure that there is a clear regulatory framework across the whole of the United Kingdom without having those disparities that we have at the moment, and to ensure that the better, smarter use of the data that will be available and the closer scrutiny of the efficacy of these medical devices will encourage innovation in medtech and in life sciences. I will give way. We can get into a theological debate about the benefits or otherwise of regulations, but what this set of statutory instrument will do is it will provide certainty and clarity across the whole of the United Kingdom, all 4 nations, and it will provide a framework for which medtech and life science companies operating in the UK or wishing to operate in the UK will know the framework. I actually see this as a good piece of secondary legislation to bring about the certainty that we want to give to companies wishing to operate or who are operating in the United Kingdom, so that we have a common framework across our 4 nations. I see that as good. Regulatory divergence with another part of the United Kingdom is not, in my mind, good for business, particularly where they want to operate on both sides of the Irish Sea. In terms of the issues around patient confidentiality and the cost estimates for the NHS, I hope the Honourable Lady will forgive me that I'll have to write to the committee on that particular point, because the tablets of stone have not reached me from Mount Sinai yet. And in terms of her question on innovation being reversed and whether people have long enough to prepare. Look, we believe that the measures in this statutory instrument do give people long enough to prepare, not least because many of these companies are already operating in the parts of the United Kingdom that this will bring us into line with, and therefore the extra capacity that is needed in the system isn't going to be to the detriment of the measures in this statutory instrument. I'll give way. No, look, I recognise that we are not only bringing Great Britain into line with Northern Ireland, we are adding other patient safety measures here. Now, if she is saying, as I hope she isn't, that the result of the Cumberledge review is that we do nothing in this area to improve these issues that have been highlighted by this review, then, you know, she is within her powers to oppose these measures. But we think that not only bringing regulatory consistency across the United Kingdom is the right thing to do, this statutory instrument gives us the opportunity to start to put right some of the shocking, appalling things that we know have happened that have been highlighted by the Cumberledge review, and that is what this measure seeks to do. Now, Mr Efford, this government is committed to the delivery of a framework for medical device regulation that prioritises patient safety, and that is the crucial thing here that we are seeking to do, that gives patients access to the medical devices they need, and it ensures that the United Kingdom remains an attractive market for medical technology innovators. We have an obligation to patients and to the public to maintain the highest standards of safety and efficacy for the medical devices they rely on. These regulations are an important first step to deliver this framework, and they place patient safety at the forefront. They will enable not only the MHRA, but the whole health system to better protect patients. I'm grateful to the Honourable Lady for her contribution. I'm grateful to members across the House for considering these regulations today, and I hope, Mr Efford, they will join me in supporting these regulations so that we have consistency across the UK and we put patient safety at the heart of medtech and life sciences going forwards. Yeah.